Shivmahimna Stotram, hymn to the glory of Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Introduction. The Shivmahimna stotra is very popular among the devotees of Lord Shiva and is considered one of the best among all stotras or stutis offered to Lord Shiva. The legend about the circumstances leading to the composition of this stotra is as follows. A king named Chitrarath, who was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, had constructed a nice royal garden. There were beautiful flowers in the garden, which were used every day by the king in worshipping Lord Shiva. One day a Gandharv, heavenly singer in the court of Indra, the lord of the heaven, named Pushpadanta, being fascinated by the beautiful flowers, began to steal them, as a consequence of which King Chitraratha could not offer flowers to Lord Shiva. He tried very hard to capture the thief, but in vain, because the Gandharvas have divine power to remain invisible. Finally, the king spread the sacred Shivnirmalya in his garden. Shivnirmalya consists of the bilva leaves, flowers, etc., which have been used in worshipping Lord Shiva. The Shivnirmalya is considered holy. The thief Pushpadanta, not knowing this, stepped on the sacred Shivnirmalya, and by that he incurred the wrath of Lord Shiva and lost the divine power of invisibility. He then designed a prayer to Lord Shiva for forgiveness. In this prayer, he sung the greatness of the Lord. This very prayer became very well known as the Shivmahimna stotra. Lord Shiva became pleased by this stotra and returned Pushpadanta's divine powers. The legend has some basis, since the name of the author is mentioned in verse number 38 of the stotra. The recital of this stotra is very beneficial, as proclaimed by one of its verses. Anyone who recites this hymn with a pure heart and devotion will be blessed with fame, wealth, long life, and many children in the mortal world, and will attain Kailas, Shiv's abode after death. Benefit of singing Shivmahimna stotra is far greater than either the benefit of spiritual initiation, charity, austerity, pilgrimage, knowledge of the scriptures, or the performance of ceremonial sacrifice. Shivmahimna stotra has 43 verses in Sanskrit for the benefit of all. Being this stotra has been given with the original Devanagari Sanskrit, Roman transliteration, and English verse translation. If it is unseemly to praise you when ignorant of the extent of your greatness, then even the praises of Brahma and others are inadequate. If no one can be blamed when they praise you according to their intellectual powers, then my attempt to compose a hymn cannot be reproached. Your greatness is beyond the reach of mind and speech. Who can properly praise that which even the Vedas describe this with trepidation? By means of neti, not this, not this. How many qualities does he possess? By whom can he be perceived? Yet whose mind and speech do not turn to the form later taken by him? O Brahma, do even Brihaspati's praises cause wonder to you, the author of the nectar like sweet Vedas? O destroyer of the three cities, the thought that by praising your glories I shall purify my speech has prompted me to undertake this work. O giver of boons, some stupid people produce arguments pleasing to the ignorant but in fact hateful, to refute your divinity, which creates, preserves and destroys the world, which is divided into three bodies, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, according to the three gunas, and which is described in the three Vedas. To fulfill what desire, assuming what form, with what instruments, support and material does the Creator create the three worlds. This kind of futile argumentation about you, whose divine nature is beyond the reach of intellect, makes the perverted vociferous and brings delusion to man. O Lord of gods, can the worlds be without origin, though they have bodies? If their creation possible without a creator, who else but God can initiate the creation of the worlds? Because they are fools, they raise doubts about your existence. Different paths to realization are enjoined by the three Vedas, by Sankhya, Yoga, Pushpadanta, Pashupata, Shiva, doctrine and Vaishnava Shastras. People follow different paths, straight or crooked, according to their temperament, depending on which they consider best or most appropriate, and reach you alone, just as rivers enters the oceans. O giver of boons, a great bull, a wooden handrest, an axe, a tiger skin, ashes, serpent, a human skull, and other such things, these are all you owe on, though simply by casting your eyes on gods, you gave them great treasures which they enjoy. Indeed, one whose delight is in the self cannot be deluded by the mirage of sense objects. O destroyer of the demon Pura, some say that the whole universe is eternal, while others say that all is transitory. Others still hold that it is eternal and non-eternal, having different characteristics. Bewildered by all this, I do not feel ashamed to praise you. Indeed, my loquacity is an indication of my boldness. O Girish, when you took the form of a pillar of fire, Brahma trying from above, the Vishnu trying from below, failed to measure you. Afterwards, even when they praised you with great faith and devotion, you revealed yourself to them of your own accord, does not surrender to you, bear fruit. O destroyer of Tripura, it was because of that great devotion which prompted him to offer his hands as lotuses to your feet that the 10-headed Ravana was still with arms and eager for fresh war, after he had effortlessly rid the three worlds of all traces of enemies. But when Ravana extended the valor of his arms, whose strength was obtained by worshipping you, to Kailas, your abode, you moved the tip of your toe, and he did not find a resting place even in the netherworld. Truly, when affluent the victor become deluded. O giver of boons, since Bana was the worshipper of your feet, is it to be wondered at that he had the three worlds at his command and put to shame the wealth of Indra? What prosperity does not come from bowing down the head to you? O three-eyed one, who drank poison out of compassion for gods and demons when they were distraught at the sudden prospect of the destruction of the universe, surely the dark blue stain on your throat has beautified you. Even deformity is to be admired in one who is given to freeing the world of fear. O Lord, the God of love, whose arrows never fail in the world of gods and men, become nothing but an object of memory because he looked on you as an ordinary god, his body being burnt by your look of faith, an insult to the self-controlled, is not conducive to good. When you danced to save the world, the earth was suddenly thrown into a precarious state at the striking of your feet. The spatial regions and the host of stars felt opposed by the movement of your massive club-like arms, and the heavens became miserable as their sides were constantly struck by your waving matted hair. Indeed, it is your very mightiness which is the cause of the trouble. The river which pervades the sky and whose form, crest look all the more beautiful because of stars and planets, seems no more than a drop of water when on your head. That same river has turned the world into islands surrounded by waters. From this can be judged the vastness of your divine body. When you wanted to burn the 3 cities of the demons, which were but a piece of straw to you, the earth was your chariot, Brahma your charioteer, and the great mountain Meru your bow, the sun and the moon of the wheel of your chariots, Vishnu your arrow. Why all this paraphernalia? The Lord is not dependent on others. He was only playing with things at His command. O destroyer of the 3 cities, Hari rooted out His own lotus eye to make up the difference when one flower was missing in His offering of 1,000 lotuses to your feet. For the great devotion you awarded the discussed Sudarshan Chakra with which Hari protects the 3 worlds. When a sacrifice has ended, you ever keep awake to bestow its fruit on the sacrificer. How can any action bear fruit if not accompanied by worship of you, O Lord? Therefore, knowing you to be the giver of fruits of sacrifices and putting faith in the Vedas, people became resolute about the performances of sacrificial act. O giver of refuse, even the sacrifice where Daksh, the Lord of creation and experts in sacrifices, was the sacrificer, rishis were priests, God's participants, was destroyed by you who are habitually the giver of fruits of sacrifices. Surely sacrifices cause injury to the sacrificer in the absence of faith and devotion. O Lord, the fury of you who became a hunter with a bow in hand has not as yet left Brahma, who, overcome by incestuous lust and finding his own daughter transforming herself into a hind, desired to ravish her in the body of a stag, and keenly pierced by your arrows, he has fled to the sky. O destroyer of the 3 cities, O giver of boons, is Parvati, who saw the god of love, bow in hand, burnt like a piece of straw in a minute by you, still proud of her beauty and believing that you are fascinated by her because she was allowed to occupy half your body because of her austerities. Surely all women are under delusion. You have completely conquered your senses. O destroyer of the god of love, O giver of wounds, your play is in cremation grounds. Your companions are ghosts. You smear your body with the ashes of burnt bodies. Human skulls are your garland. All your conduct is indeed inauspicious, but you promote the greatest good of those who remember you. You are indeed that inexpressible truth which yogis realize within through concentrating their minds on the self and controlling the breath according to the direction laid down in the scriptures, and realizing which truth they experience raptures, thrills, and shed profuse tears of joy. Swimming as it were in a pool of nectar, they enjoy inner bliss. The wise hold this limiting view of you. You are the sun, you are the moon, you are fire, you are air, you are water, you are space, you are the earth, and you are the self. but we do not know the things which you are not. O giver of fuse with the 3 letters AUM, indicating the 3 Vedas, 3 states, 3 words and the 3 gods, the word Om describes you separately. By its subtle sound, the word Om collectively denotes you, your absolute transcendental state which is free from change. O Lord Bhava, Sharva, Rudra, Pashupati, Ugra, Mahadev, Bhim and Ishan, these 8 names of yours are each treated in detail in the Vedas. To you, most beloved Lord Shankara of resplendent form, I offer salutation. O lover of solitude, my salutation to you who are the nearest and the farthest. O destroyer of the God of love, my salutation to you who are the minutest and also the largest. O 3-eyed one, my salutation to you who are the oldest and also the youngest. My salutation to you again and again who are all and also transcending all. Salutation to you as Brahma, in whom Rajas prevails for the creation of the universe. Salutation to you as Rudra, in whom Tamas prevails for its destruction. Salutation to you as Vishnu, in whom Sattva prevails for giving happiness to the people. Salutation to you, O Shiva, who are effulgent and beyond the 3 attributes. O giver of boons, how poor is my ill-developed mind, subject to affliction, and how boundless your divinity, eternal and possessing infinite virtues. Though terror-stricken because of this, I am inspired by my devotion to offer this hymnal garland at your feet. O Lord, if this black mountain be ink, the ocean the inkpot, the branch of the stout wish-fulfilling tree upon the earth, the writing leaf, and if taking these the goddess of learning writes the eternity, even then the limit of your virtues will not be reached. The best of Gandharvas, Pushpadanta by name, composed in great devotion this beautiful hymn to the Lord, who is worshipped by demons, gods and the best of sages, whose praises have been sung, who has the moon on his forehead and who is attributeless. The person who with purified heart and in great devotion always reads this beautiful and elevating hymn to Shiva becomes like Shiva after death in the abode of Shiva, and while in this world gets abundant wealth, long life, progeny and fame. There is no God higher than Shiva. There is no hymn better than the hymn on the greatness of Shiva. There is no mantra more powerful than the name of Shiva. There is nothing higher to be known than the real nature of the Guru. Initiation into spiritual life, charities, austerities, pilgrimages, practice of yoga, performance of sacrificial rites, none of these given even a 16th part of the merit that one gets by reciting the hymn on the greatness of Shiva. The Lord of Gandharvas, Pushpadanta by name, is the servant of the God of gods and who has the crescent moon on his forehead. Fallen from his glory due to the wrath of the Lord, he composed this very beautiful uplifting hymn on the greatness of Shiva to regain his favor. In one with single-minded devotion and folded palms reads this unfailing hymn composed by Pushpadanta, who is adored by great gods and the best of sages, and which grants heaven and liberation. One goes to Shiva and is worshipped by kinnars, celestial beings. Thus end this unparalleled sacred hymn composed by Pushpadanta and describing the glory of Lord Shiva in a most fascinating manner. This hymn worship is offered at the feet of Shiva. May the ever beneficent Lord of gods be pleased with me at this. I do not know the truth of your nature and who you are, O great God. My salutation to your true nature. Whoever reads this once, twice or thrice in a day reveals in the domain of Shiva, bereft of all sins. If a person learns by heart and recite this hymn, which flowed from the lotus mouth of Pushpadanta, which destroys sins and is dear to Shiva, and which equally promotes the goods of all, Shiva, the Lord of creation, becomes very pleased. Iti Shri Pushpadantavi Rachitam Shivmahimna Stotram Samaptam. Thus ends the hymn called Shivmahimna Stotram, composed by Pushpadanta.